Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. Didn't realize that there were eight divisions. Kind of, kind of forgot that there were eight divisions in football. So I still got two more to go, actually. Um, Next up, I'm gonna be doing the AFC South, which is I have to do NFC South and AFC South. I'm gonna do AFC South. AFC South, the order I got the Titans finishing first, Colts second, Jaguars third, and Texans fourth. Um, so I took Tennessee because I think they made their defense a little bit better. Um, they got Julio, so they're going to be even more dangerous on offense. They got a good offensive line, and I don't know. I just kind of like what they did with their defense. It's going to be interesting to see how Caleb Farley plays, but they've got McDougald and Byard as their safeties. No, never mind. Let me go over the full team first. So, of course, quarterback they got Ryan Tannehill. I believe he's a top 10 quarterback. Just really found his home in Nashville. Really good quarterback for them. Great pocket passer, pretty mobile, and it's just done so well for them. And I'm really happy he kind of found his potential there. Um, Running back, they've got the monster Derrick Henry. It'd be interesting to see if he'll rush for 2,000 yards this season or and have another incredible season. Love the guy, and is just an absolute beast. And never gets hurt either, which is just like awesome. Any everything you can ask for a running back, in a running back, and I have no idea why he was taken so low, in the draft in the second round. Then of course they got AJ Brown and Julio Jones, probably the best wide receiver duo in the league. Hopefully Julio can stay healthy, but I mean this is so dangerous, and not only that, it makes Brown that much better or Julio that much better. Um, Whoever, I guess they'll probably put their number one on Julio, and then you've got Brown on a cornerback too, which is just, I mean, he's just gonna be even better. So that's great. They lost Johnny Smith, who was a red zone threat, but they've got Anthony Ferkser, who I think is like replaceable for that. I think he's decent. And then their line, I love their offensive line. They've got Luan. They lost Conklin, but they replaced him with Quessenberry, and I think Quessenberry is pretty good. They've got Ben Jones, who's a solid center, and then Roger Saffold, another really good guard. Overall, this is a great offense, one of the best in the NFL. Just really well run, and I'm going to be interested to see what they do without Arthur Smith. Or wait, is Arthur Smith their coach? Who's their coach? No, Vrabel's their coach. Yeah, they don't have Arthur Smith anymore, so I'm interested to see what they'll do on offense, without him. But really, really good offense, and looking forward to seeing it. Now, the defense does arise to some question marks, for the Titans, and it's valid for you to say, well, why are you taking them when they have kind of a bad defense? Well, they got Jeffrey Simmons and they got Bud Dupree, so those are two really solid, edge rushers that are who are gonna rush the passer really well. Autry is also a nice, pass rusher. So, some good pass rushers, which were just non existent for them last year, besides for Simmons, I guess. Um, so, they've got some good pass rushers. Rashawn Evans, decent linebacker. And Jalen Brown is their other linebacker, who I don't really know. Harold Landry's okay. Um, so, front seven is like pretty solid. And then their corners, their secondary, like I said, they got McDougald and Byard, which is a great combination. Byard's one of the best safeties in the league, really underrated. Their corners, though, huge question mark. What's gonna happen there? They got Caleb Farley in the first round. He was like a projected top 10 pick, but he just kind of fell because of his injury stock. So he's an option. They've got Janoris Jenkins, who's always just a wild card, kind of overrated. I don't know how good he's gonna be. Um, and then Christian Fulton is also listed on their depth chart as an option. So defense is like okay. I think it's going to be better than it was last year, and they finished in first place last year. So um, I like Tennessee to finish first. I think it'll be close with the Colts, especially now that they have a They replaced Rivers with a solid option. But you got to remember, leading into the Colts, Carson Wentz is going to be injured for a bit, and we don't know how quick he's going to be back. Regardless, the Colts come in with their typical identity, which is a really good offensive line, strong run game, and then, for the most part, mediocre wide receivers, which they don't have this year, actually. Michael Pittman, I think, has the chance to be kind of an elite wide receiver. They still have, of course, T.Y. Hilton, who's most overrated player in the league. Probably not anymore, but I just thought he was so overrated when they had Andrew Luck. He's just such a normal wide receiver. But they've got Pascal, who's got nice hands. I think he's good. And Paris Campbell. So some solid options at wide receiver. Then Jack Doyle, nice tight end. He had some nice catches in that playoff game against the Bills. And then, like I said, juggernaut offensive line. Got Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith, Eric Fisher as their tackle. So really, really good offensive line. And Wentz is going to be well protected. So yeah, let's talk about Carson Wentz. I think he's going to be pretty solid under Reich's offense. I think it was the right move for them. They needed a quarterback to replace Phillip, and I think he's going to be pretty good. I like him under Reich's offense. He's got some weapons. He's got a line, and he's got a running back. He didn't have a line at all in Philly. He was just pressured all the time, always getting hit, and I felt so bad. He just didn't have an offensive line in Philadelphia, and that's something that I think goes pretty unsung, but it's true. However, the strength of this team is their defense. Really, really solid defense. They lost Justin Houston. They replaced him with Kwity Paye as their first-round pick. They've got probably the best defensive tackle besides Aaron Donald in the game in DeForest Buckner. Really underrated. Got him from the 49ers, paid him big money for a first-round pick, and it definitely paid off as he had a really, really good season last year. And then Grover Stewart, another good defensive tackle. Then their linebackers, they've got Darius Leonard, awesome player. Bobby Okereke, who had a good season last year, and Zaire Franklin, who I think played a little bit. I don't know. The thing that I do raise my eyebrows with is their secondary. Secondary is a little shaky. Rock Ya-Sin is their number one cornerback, who I like. I think he's pretty good. Xavier Rhodes is their cornerback too. He's injured right now, but I'm not really sold on Xavier Rhodes at this point. He was good when I was in elementary school, but or in 8th grade, but now he's kind of old, not as good. I just don't think he's an as elite as he was when I was younger. And then there's safeties. They got TJ Carey, Justin Blackman, and Kari Willis. Don't really know those guys. And that raises question marks for me for their secondary. They don't have Malik Hooker anymore. I guess they didn't bring him back. So too bad that pick didn't work out. But yeah, I have the Titans ahead of the Colts, just because I don't know how quick Wentz is going to be back and at 100% strength. I think the Titans have a better offense. Defenses, honestly, maybe the Colts is a little better, but I like the Titans secondary better, so I don't know. I like the Titans. Then we have the drop-off of the century, as the next best team in this division is the Jaguars. And the Texans are horrible, so I'm not going to put them in third place. The Jaguars just have a better team. Of course, they got Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall pick. Excited to see what he can do. Sorry. In the NFL. They lost ETN, which is absolute dagger. I think he was really going to help out that offense and just be kind of a screen guy also for Lawrence, just to build up his confidence. They still got James Robinson, though, who had an incredible season last year, and they signed Carlos Hyde, so decent pair of running backs. And then wide receivers, they signed Marvin Jones, which I liked. I thought they got Curtis Samuel, but they actually didn't. The Redskins got him. They still have DJ Chark, who I think is a legit number one wide receiver in the NFL. Um, and then LaVictor Chenault, who's also solid option, second round pick from last year. Tight end, their tight end position is non-existent. They have C.J. Manhartz and James Ostragacy, so don't expect any production from that position. And then their line is pretty solid, I think. They got Andrew Norwell, who they paid a lot of money. I think he's pretty good at guard. Cam Robinson was good last year. He's really found his footing after being a bust for the Rams. And then Jawan Taylor, second round pick out of Florida. I think he had a respectable year last year. So, I don't know. I think I like their offensive line. And then they've got Brandon Linder, who's a solid center as well. So, like their offensive line. I don't really know. Like, this could go one of two ways. I feel like with the Jaguars, it could go really good or really bad. When you have a bunch of, like, solid wide receivers, but no elite wide receivers, for a rookie quarterback, that can kind of go south. But the most important thing is that Lawrence has, like, a pretty decent offensive line for a rookie, I feel like, in a rebuilding team. Most rebuilding teams, their lines are horrible. But I feel like Lawrence is walking into like a pretty solid situation at offensive line. Their defense isn't very good, and what can you expect of them? I mean, they weren't very good last year. So, not much you can expect of it, but they've got Josh Allen, who I think had like an okay year last year. High pick. Malcolm Brown, I know that name, but I just can't put a face to it. Maybe it was the D tackle who played for the Patriots. Maybe it isn't. Regardless, they still have Miles Jack, who's a great linebacker, and then Kayvon Chasen, who they took last year. So a lot of first round picks kind of just being cycled into this defense. Then of course they got the stud C.J. Henderson as their number one cornerback, who I really like, and I think he's going to be a legit number one cornerback when he gets develops, but also didn't play a lot of games last year. But please, if you're the Jaguars, do not trade C.J. Henderson. Cornerbacks they do not come by the dozen, and you got to keep an elite cornerback when you have one, especially on a contract like Henderson has. And then, of course, they went out and they signed Shaquille Griffin from the Seahawks. Really good move. And he's going to be he'll probably be their number one corner. And then having Henderson at cornerback too, that's a great pair of cornerbacks. Their safeties are Andrew Wingard and Rayshawn Jenkins. Have no idea who either of those guys are. But overall, I kind of underestimated this defense. They could use another pass rusher, but their linebackers are I'm really impressed with their linebackers. They also have Dylan Moses, who I believe went to Alabama as another linebacker. So not like a horrible roster for the Jacksonville. If Lawrence can be an elite quarterback like we think he is next season, like they have a chance to like contend for the division probably. Probably need to add some pass rushing and just like I don't know, a little more like just some more like star power and leadership. I feel like this team is lacking a little bit of leadership. I don't really know where it's coming from. A lot of young players, and Urban Meyer is also kind of a wild card, so we'll see what happens there. Next off, we have the worst team in the division, and quite frankly, the NFL, in the Houston Texans. So of course, absolute fiasco with Deshaun Watson. He has a lot of allegations right now for he has 20 actually, not a lot, 20, which is more than a lot. Of allegations. So I don't think he'll play this season, which leaves them with Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills as their quarterback options. Running back, honestly, they have some good options. They got Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay, and David Johnson. And Rex Burkhead. I mean, a lot of good running backs. I wish that they maybe traded a running back or two for some wide receivers because this wide receiving core is just absolutely horrible. Got Brandon Cooks as their number one wide receiver. He was good maybe 4 years ago. That trade by O'Brien, they traded a second-round pick for him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He's had so many concussions. I feel like he's kind of washed up. Then again, that's my opinion, but when he's your number one wide receiver, yikes. they've got Chris Conley, who they got from the Jaguars, who's a solid option, and then Anthony Miller. I'm not a big fan of. They traded for him from the Bears. And then they got Amendola. So bad wide receiving core, and then their tight ends are Pharaoh Brown and Jordan Atkins. Again, not much production coming from there. And then, of course, the biggest concern comes on that line. Of course, they've got the big franchise left tackle Laramie Tunsil, who they're paying $20 million a year to. It's kind of a yikes there. So he's pretty good. He's not one of the best tackles. I mean, I guess maybe he's one of the best tackles in the league, but not worth 3 first-round picks that Mr. O'Brien used to trade for him. And then they got Titus Howard, who I believe was a first-round pick at guard, and then Marcus Cannon is their other tackle, which is kind of interesting. Honestly, their line isn't that bad. I kind of trashed it, but overall, this offense isn't very good. Tyrod Taylor and Davis Mills both aren't very good options at the quarterback position, and I don't think Deshaun will play this season. Their defense is okay. Neville Hewitt was the guy that I was thinking of who played for the Jets, who's a really good tackler. The Texans got Neville Hewitt at linebacker. They've also got Zach Cunningham, who I believe may have been a first-round pick or a high pick. Regardless, I think he's a pretty good player. Christian Kirksey, really good middle linebacker from the Browns. And then Grugier Hill, who I can't remember which team he was on, but again, another solid linebacker option. Kind of impressed by the linebackers they have. And then Whitney Merciless, Malik Collins, Jordan Jenkins, and Vincent Taylor. Not a horrible defensive line. They've also got Jacob Martin, who they got for D-Hop or somebody. I don't know. So not like a horrible defensive line. Jordan Jenkins was kind of overprojected. Didn't really have a very good career with the Steelers. And then Whitney Merciless, he's been on the Texans for years. He's always a good player. Their corners, though, kind of concerning. They've got Vernon Hargraves, who's... I don't even know how many teams he's played for at this point. Not great. Terrence Mitchell from the Browns, he's okay. And Eric Murray and Justin Reed are their safeties. So not a great... Honestly, their roster's a little better than I thought it was. Honestly, it's not a horrible roster, but when you have Tyrod Taylor as your starter, I don't know how good they're going to be. I just don't know how many games you're going to win. And I just don't know where their offense is going to be coming from. So that's my opinion on the AFC South. Right? AFC South, yeah. So thanks for watching, and see you guys.